Good morning and welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to get us rolling for this week. And the birds are already rolling here, just a cacophony of sound out there. So welcome. And excuse me, we'll give it a minute or two as people start to roll in. There's Abigail. Good morning. You're the first one here today. Welcome. Glad you're here. And funny. So I'm gone for 4 days, and took along 2 card decks. Good morning, Janine. Welcome. Glad you're here. And so I get home and I have all of my card decks accessible to me. Good morning, Joe Neal. Welcome. And welcome to whomever else popped on, but your name isn't rolling. I'm glad you're here. All these card decks, right? There's probably, 20, 25 card decks there. And I'm like, all these options, blah, blah, blah. Did my muscle testing to see which deck for today. The same one I took along. I thought that was funny. Good morning, Ruth Ann. Welcome. Thank you for the sunshine. I appreciate it. So sometimes how we think things are supposed to go is not how the universe plays things out. So here we are with the Denise Lynn Sacred Forest deck again. Interesting card also because we've been, even the language. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. I was just going to say, we've been working so hard on letting go of productivity. Yeah, it's even built into our language. Good morning, Carolyn. Welcome. So we've been attending to letting go of work, right? Good morning, Cindy. Glad you're here. That our value does not lie merely in our productivity. But then along comes today's card, which I think might be the signal. Good morning, Linda. Welcome. That, again, we need balance. If we view moving through our life as like riding a bicycle, don't we have the periods where we're pedaling furiously, where we're pedaling leisurely, where we're coasting? It's all part of the process of doing your life path, right? So today's card is a little reminder about the pedaling phase of enjoying a life path. Our card, if you have the deck, it's card number 5, is Bee Spirit, Prosperity. And as you can see, the fairy is riding on the bee as it goes from tree to, or flower to flower. So let's see what it has to tell us. Good morning to everybody. Welcome. Glad you're here. Ooh, it's my favorite number 8. We have 8 of you on at the moment. So Bee Spirit, Prosperity. Let's take a moment to breathe, because we want to be as open as we can be to the message. The part of the message that is here for us, each of us as individuals. Good morning, Mel. And us as a collective, us as the practical rebels, us as a group that energetically comes together every morning and gathers some information, learns some things, feels some things, works through some things, and then moves out into our day, influencing all of the others we come in contact with. Some directly and some more indirectly. If I'm nice to the clerk at the store, the clerk may be nice to the next customer, who's then nice to their spouse, who's, the ripple effect in the way that we'd like it to go, right? So, Bee Spirit, Prosperity. I also thought it was interesting that she picked the word prosperity here. When we're reading, you're going to see that much of it is reflecting on productivity. And I believe there's ways to be prosperous without it being directly tied to production. But let's just go with the card with where it's at and see what pops up for you. Again, I think this is timely in terms of moving us back into having some flow back and forth between the periods of pedaling and the periods of coasting. Bee Spirit, Prosperity. In the meadow, the flowers are heady with their sweet scents. Bees flit from flower to flower, their droning sounding like the combined chants of 1,000 monks. I thought that was a cool way to look at it. As you watch, you can sense their focus on productivity and working in community. And I think that's also a second message this card is bringing to us, the fierce independence of the typical American kind of needing to be sidelined a bit so that there's space for that working together as a community. That's vital right now. The result of their industry is golden amber honey. This card can be a wonderful sign that abundance and sweet energy is coming your way. It also can be a card of productivity and organization. So if you have been indecisive, disorganized, and unfocused, this card can mean that it's time to focus. Interesting on that one, because I think about my dad. He is not a list maker, not at all. I live and die by lists, right? And so I watch what's happening as the memory stuff gets more complicated, that he spends a lot more time kind of in that space of, I don't know what I'm doing, or I forgot what I'm doing, and I don't have a list to go back to look at to see what was it I was doing, etc. So I think that's one of the pieces I want to share at the end of this, if I remember, is that some little organizational tools that can make a huge difference. Reprioritize your life. Have you been too busy with nothing to show for all your work? In other words, you're generating all kinds of heat, but not a whole lot of light. Decide what is most important and take steps in those directions. To activate the prosperity you desire, this card can also signify that it's time to work hard. And my thing with working hard is, do not equate that with drudgery, all right? We can work hard in a joyful way. And hard doesn't also have to mean that we're totally killing ourselves, that we don't know when to take a break. It can be just that sheer industriousness that feels good when you're engaged in it. Those chunks of time where you get into a project and you just flow with it, that can be what this is talking about also. Be willing to put in time and energy, and your goals will be attained. Your efforts will pay off. Bees work together, so also consider whose energy aligns with yours and how you might collaborate to achieve your desires. By doing this, good fortune will ensue. And again, I'm making the point that we've been so highly trained toward individuality and individualism that we're not good at asking for help. And many of us are not great at working on teams. Remember those teams in high school where you had to work together on a project and usually it ended up being one or two people doing the whole bloody thing? That left a bad taste in a lot of our mouths, especially those of us who were the ones that did the whole bloody thing. However, I believe, and I'm seeing this in my life now, certainly with the board retreat that we were just on, certainly with the Generative Local Community Institute circles that I sit on, a group of people where everybody's offering their gifts, and over the time it is a relatively equitable offering. There's certain periods of time, like right now they're working very heavily on a food co-op idea, and that's probably not my strong suit, not my wheelhouse. So I'm more in a supportive role at this point. But when we're working on the housing kinds of things, then I'm more in the front and some of the others fall to the back. So there's that ebb and flow within a group in terms of kind of like the V that geese make. It's not the same goose at the head all the time. One leads for a while, and when it tires, it goes toward the back, and another goose takes the lead. So there's that shared leadership. That's a wonderful thing for us to aim for in this day and age. Throughout history, bees and their productivity are admired because they bring us honey, which is associated with the sweetness of life, nourishment, and wealth. Honey is also associated with gold in many legends. The message Bee Spirit brings is that with diligent work you will gain gold. And as best you can, try to make that less than literal, all right? Diligent work can mean your heart work, your soul work, your emotional work, your mental work, all kinds of things beyond just physical labor, all right? The spirit of the bee says, the sweet abundance of the universe is flowing into your life. However, you need to take action and perhaps join with others to align with the frequency of your dreams. Believe that you deserve, and your goal will unfold. So, I want to share a little bit about how this might look different from what most of us have learned and executed to date. Because for myself, it was slave labor that I put myself under. Work, 24/7, 365. And, many of the things people, thank you, Cindy, I appreciate you posting that. Many of the things that people accomplish then, you get to the end of that particular churning effort. And sometimes rather than feeling elation that I accomplished this, there's just the exhaustion of thank God it's done. And you can't enjoy it as much as you wish you could. So, a different approach, I won't say a better approach because who am I to judge that, but a different approach can be consciously stepping into flow with whatever that task is. So I'm going to make something up here. Let's say I'm replanting the flower beds out front. The old paradigm would be I go out, I dig everything up, I make a mess, I work by myself, I work long hours, I work in the rain, I repeatedly go out and buy stuff I need, the dirt, to augment the dirt, to get the plants, bunch of different places to get the plants, blah, 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 labor. It's all done. I water it, and I go, and I'm tired. Or I can step into flow. I wonder what kind of flower beds want to be created here. Listen to the land. What does it suggest it wants? So maybe I'm thinking a very neat and tidy garden, and maybe the universe is thinking wildflowers. Let's do wildflowers. Then there's the working together. So maybe someone stops and says, hey, do you want some help with that? As they watch me struggle to pull out something that's way overgrown and needs to be departed with. So I say, yes, I'd love some help. And so they help and we chat and do the task together. And whatever the quote is about many hands make for light work sort of a deal, can be asking people, I'm going to be redoing these flower beds. Would you like to help me? And then I'll help you with whatever it is you're doing at your place. It could be someone bringing over some volunteer plants that they have from their yard and I can put them in mine. It could be someone bringing wildflower seeds that they culled from their meadow the previous year, and I see you're putting it in, and I hear you want wildflowers. Here's some seeds. People working together, a flow to the work, an enjoyment in the work, making it fun instead of a chore, appreciating Mother Earth and all she offers, connecting with Mother Earth and the universe in terms of what's wanted and needed here. Can you see how that's a very different approach? And can you see how when it's done and we all step back and we look at it, it's going to feel different. It's not going to feel like exhaustion and thank God that's done and hurry up and grow, damn it, and all that. It's going to be, we worked well together. This was fun. What would be a great next project for all of us, right? Whole different ball of wax. And again, I've said this before, I will say it again. I see us strongly moving, thank you, Jo Neal, strongly moving toward collective efforts. That it isn't the Lone Ranger out there. Even the Lone Ranger had Tonto, right? And a horse, which, hi-ho, Silver, I think. Okay, yeah, Silver. That was not a show I watched, but you get the gist. How can you right here, right now. So let's take a breath first. Open yourself to receive guidance, support, help, asking for help, reaching out. You know, I could use a hand with whatever, and how can I be of service to you? And also at times realizing it doesn't have to be tit for tat. I can do for you, you can do for someone else, that someone else does for someone else. Eventually something comes around, someone does for me, right? So we don't have to have the giant scoreboard in the sky in terms of being of assistance. So I'm going to show you the card again. Be Spirit, Prosperity. What comes to mind for you? What are you taking out of this? What part grabs you the most? Is it the prosperity idea? Is it the productivity idea? Is it the working together in groups idea? Is it about stepping into flow instead of flailing away against the machine? What piece speaks to you? Put something in the feed. Let's get a little conversation going here that can help deepen this whole process for all of us. Because again, I feel like this is where we're going, and we can go in the famous words of, let me think of her name. I can see her face. Marianne Woodman, who was a Jungian analyst, and her own analyst said to her, Mrs. Woodman, change is going to occur. You can move forward, kicking and screaming like a pig to slaughter, or you can muster some modicum of dignity and walk. So, change is happening. We're going there anyway. Are we going to go with a smile on our face and an expectation of, I wonder how this is going to work out? Or are we going to cling, kicking and screaming, to the old things that no longer work and are on their way out anyway? You like the working together idea. Fabulous, fabulous. Me too, me too. And the more we practice it, the better we're going to get at it. And the more we learn about and adopt other ways of doing this thing. We've gotten so locked into hierarchical structures that we really don't get a level playing field. So for me, again, if you haven't learned anything about sociocracy, check it out. One little book is called Who Decides Who Decides by Ted Rau, R-A-U. And it's a beautiful little book that talks about the underpinnings of sociocracy. How do you do this thing? How do you get everybody stepping into their power, their sovereignty, and work together as a group to resolve things, make decisions, move forward, etc.? And again, the word on the street is it takes too long. Consensus takes too long. What I have found experiencing several groups in which I sit where we use this, once you get the process down, it happens relatively quickly and people move forward and you're not fighting a system. So that was fun stuff. There's 10 of you on here now. I'd like you all to go forth. Can I put a link to the book? Yes, we can hunt that up. Actually, Cindy, would you mind doing that? It's Who Decides Who Decides by Ted Rau, R-A-U. And he has some other books too that are very relevant to sociocracy and this model of decision making. I've just found it incredibly helpful. Jerry Gonzalez is another person who, and sometimes I believe he has worked with Ted on books, and just beginning to get your mind to think in a different way. How does this thing even work? This is very different. How does this thing even work? So, have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. We'll see whether or not Denise Lynn and the Sacred Forest pop up again tomorrow. Just kind of made me giggle. It was the same deck for today. So remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are, including working successfully in groups, including asking for help, including allowing. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. Have an awesome day. Bye.